to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Budget meeting will open. We'll start with general, well, actually, we have three that we can, or some we can dispense with pretty quickly. I didn't make copies for you because it's pretty simple. The special distribution of $33,599, we need to expense all of that in 2017, right? And the rainy day is on your
I have the resolution.
resolution, okay.
Does everybody have a copy or are you in
No,
that yet?
no, we haven't got there yet. We just
Okay.
started. We are not going to be spending $23,213 this year, so we'll be returning that back, or we'll be making a resolution that we're not going to use that number that we for the 2017 budget. Local road streets, same thing, $19,845 will not be expended this year, and Lee's resolution will roll that money over into next year. Cumulative capital improvements, CCI. I don't think there was any change on that, was there?
No, because we're doing
Yeah.
this.
And then the CCD, what change did you have on that one? Are you putting the
I'm
whole
putting
32?
the whole,
The whole 32?
well, I'm putting 32,106.
That's it, okay. So those four funds, we're not going to be expending that this year, so we'll be returning that. The resolution also shows that in, well, we'll get to that. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll get to that as it comes around. We'll go through our budget and then we'll run the resolution. But general's 108,619 and MVH 24,047 that we will be rolling over next year. Okay, Mr. Downey, you want to start the MVH first, because don't you need to go back somewhere?
No, the
Okay.
other things can wait till the morning. I don't
Okay.
know where to actually start.
Well,
I guess my budget,
we have this, you have this sheet.
yes,
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
I haven't had time to really go over anything today.
That's all right, we'll just kind of go down through here. You see last year's budget and this year's budget. Operation manager, there's a 500 increase, assistant, a 500 increase, part-time helper, you're keeping the same. If I can move there of 100. Health insurance, you went from 6,800 to 7,000. Actually,
Yeah, good. I was figuring so much percent increase, so I don't know what.
Kevin Park said we should count on a 12%. So you're right at it, 744, so you're good. Office supplies, you went from 300 to 200. Garage and motor, you went from 5,000 to 4,500. Now, if you guys have any questions on any of these, why he's reducing or whatever, just pop in. Operating supplies, you're keeping the same. Uniform, boots, you're going up from 2 to 4. Salt, you went up 500. Repair and maintenance, you went down. Small tools and minor purchases, you went down 500. Keystone software, you went up a little bit, that's not. Telephone and internet, you cut that in half.
Yeah.
Because you don't spend very much on.
No, the only thing we have actually is the internet.
Internet.
That's the only thing we have over there, so comparing what figures that was year to date at the time that I figured this.
Now, Sharon, on that cell phone allowance, how are you allocating that?
I'm breaking that down.
Third.
For those guys. And
Yeah, okay. You should still be okay with the 600. Liability insurance, you're staying the same. That's what Kevin said, our insurance should stay the same next year. Heat and power, reduction a little bit. Repairs, reduction a little bit. Your payment on the Dodge truck remains the same, obviously, that can't change. Other services, you kept that at 200. Other improvements went from 4,047 to 4,000. And machinery, we had a budget of 6,000 this year, and we've broken it down next year for these 3 items. You want
Yes,
to talk about those now?
that is, yeah, that's, of course, that's depending on if water and sewer, water and sewer also can pick up the slack on that. As the board well knows, our dump truck is it's a 1989 Chevrolet dump truck, and there's hoist problems with it, and recently there's been a tick in the rear end, which I don't know if it's the spider gear or what. That's just developed, that occurred, after you requested a dump truck. I know last year it failed me a couple of times in the cooler weather, the hoist wouldn't work properly, and I just think it's time to either get one in the, we can have that ready and reserved, but if something happens to this dump truck, it's not worth putting any money in whatsoever, I guess is what I'm getting to. Not a dime, it's just not worth it. As long as it's running right now, yes, it's okay for us, but if there's something that does go wrong with it, it's not worth investing any money in whatsoever.
Well, one thing that we all need to remember is this is not approving that purchase. This is just merely putting that money in the budget in case, just in case. It doesn't mean
Right.
that
Yes.
it would be there
I-
or that you would get a new dump truck. It's just that if something happened, you'd have that money on a line. Okay, anybody, how about your other 2?
Okay, and the skid steer, Bobby and I have looked it over and everything. It's got a carrier bearing that's getting ready to go out of the track. That's around $4,000 to $5,000 repair. And it's got, it needs to go in and have the dry pumps reworked or something, because it will not, you got to take a couple stabs at turning it around and everything, because it's just not got enough drive to turn it around. It's a 06 also. I say also, the dump truck's name, but it is an 06. And to properly get that thing back to function, and push comes to shove, we're talking probably anywhere from $10,000 to probably $12,000 if we got everything repaired properly. Well, the purchase outright, there's like again, I lost mine. I didn't lose it.
So your compact seat or TK loader is what you're talking about?
The track loader, yeah.
Okay. And then what about the new mower? Is that another Dixie or what are you looking at there?
Well, I quoted a Ferris.
Okay.
The Dixie, again, is still running good. In fact, there's times especially, we just got this summer, with the rain falling and then the, all being pulled off because of issues with repairs, we could have got in there quick and got 2 mowers. It would have helped us out a bunch.
So the number I'm looking at here, that's not trading the Dixie, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is an additional mower, is that what this is?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, like I say, we're not.
We're looking at the- yeah.
This is just putting the money aside.
Correct.
On that line.
We're looking at a total of if all 3 funds, just so you know, comparing to what it would be to fix the track loader versus a new, you're looking at around 52,000 trade difference. It's probably going to be a little cheaper, but it's figured on not until next year anyway, so.
Yeah.
But just to be safe, for it to be there. Do I need anything right at this particular moment? No, but again, I don't want to do like they have in the past and keep something until it's sitting out there at the lagoon and you're begging somebody to give a buy bid on it and take it, like we have in pickup trucks when I first came. That doesn't pay off, not when you can get government pricing and everything, but yet you can get wholesale retail out of something to trade in if it's worth anything.
Okay. Now, one other item on your budget, did find 24,260 more that you can budget next year. What do you want to?
Well, I went to a meeting just the other day in Seymour at the Department of Transportation in regards to the paving grant we got, and that is going to be a item for the next 3 years. Now, the amount, we don't know if it's going to be a match. Legislature did okay it for the next 3 years for there to be funding available, but being the state works off of a fiscal year, July to January 30 or to June 31st. We won't know. That's why it was so late this year. And we've got a year, so we've got at least a year or so to use up what we use on this grant now. But as far as match dollar per dollar, there's no guarantee that that's what's going to be for next year, because the legislature has to look at the budget at the end of June 31st of 2017 and decide how much is going to be free available to apply for another grant. And there isn't, we can apply back-to-back grants for that. There's no waiting period, like 3 years or so, like there is on the utility side of it. So I would just, for safety net, and is put it in there, so that way that puts that much more to the pot if it is a matching situation.
So you'd move that up on line 1315, paving
Yeah.
contractual, for 24,260.
That's what I would do, yes.
Okay. One thing on that grant that I was looking at it too, I mean, this year we need it, for what we have, but you can also do sidewalk repair. And so that's something that, if they have this for 3 years.
Yeah, this money here has to be used, this go-around has to be used for what we requested for the streets we requested.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know that, but.
Now, if by some chance we would go over what we've used and still not have all the streets, we have to give permission that, we don't have the money to go above and beyond, so we have to get permission that these streets aren't going to get done just in case. I mean, it's a good deal, but yet they want you to follow the letter, and they're going to do audits too on everything. Over said and done, but this money can't be used. Yeah, if it was applied for possibly next year, sidewalks, that's fine, but none of this money can be used, just so the board knows, none of this money can be used for sidewalks or anything. It has to be used for the streets that was applied for.
Yeah, I'm talking about future grants.
Yes.
I was looking at that, and you can apply for bridges, which we don't have any bridges, but you can apply for bridge repair, you can apply for sidewalk repair. You can't use it for new sidewalk, but you can use it for existing. It had a lot of things in there I didn't realize. Okay, so if we look then, if we move your 24,260 up to that line 1315, that makes your total budget 123,421. And Sharon, that's what I had on this paper. Is that what you had, 123,421 that we came up with on Monday? Okay. So you can ask your questions. Fire away.
So if we don't have to use this money for new mower, blah, 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 we just can,
Roll it over the next year.
okay.
Yeah, you can pick.
We don't lose
That's an
anything.
old wives' tale. It's an old wives' tale that if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, that's not true.
Okay.
You simply do, like we passed out the resolution,
Okay.
the resolution, and then you carry that money over. And that's how we've been able to build up so that we can do some of these things. If you spend all your money, then you don't have, when it comes time to do grants, you can't match. Now,
Okay.
Now, I will let you know this, considering, and again, I'm not asking for any of this right now, but considering compared to last year, with the insurance going up and the things that I cut down, we had a budget of, if I'm reading right, because I'm kind of blurry.
93,000.
Okay, 93,000.
750 or
And
something,
I
I
went
just
up
looked at it.
30, obviously, is what I went up. But that's cutting things, and that's adding in all these, all these items.
Well, and another reason we've been able to increase your budget from the 93 is because you are carrying over 24,000. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
the
I mean,
money we're not spending this year is gonna roll over.
I mean, obviously, I cut some to try to cut back on, things. Obviously, repairs and stuff. I'm not gonna need as much, because we'll have newer equipment, and it'll all get running.
Now, on the operations assistant, you won't be spending that much money next year. Bobby is going from full-time to part-time. His last full-time day will be next Friday, what is that, 21st? No, it's
24, isn't it?
okay. Anyway, that'll be Bobby's last full-time. He's gonna go part-time. And then what he is, the pay that he does receive will be coming all out of wastewater. You know what I mean, minimum wage. And so, anyway. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Downey on the MVH?
Is there certain hours he's gonna work at part-time?
That's
well,
what
we're
we're
not-
going with
We're
that.
gonna talk about that here. We'll finish these budgets. We can do him on the same kind of situation like we do Roger, you know, for this license.
Oh, I see, yeah.
You see what I mean? And then he's available anytime. He'll still do the testing and
And
the
basically, just, yeah.
and be the wastewater certified operator. Just our, in the past when we've had to bring Lee
So it
Rogers
might
in.
be like a salary, but I mean.
It should be like that,
Like
that.
but we'll talk about
Okay.
that. Okay,
Yeah, that's gotta be back to see what we use, and he still. He just basically
We'll see Roger
switched his part-time job.
yeah, he's
His
flipping
full-time
jobs. It's a
job.
great opportunity, great
Yeah, and
opportunity.
he doesn't have to listen to all
Well,
the stuff.
yeah, but anyway, okay. And he's gonna
That'd
flip.
be a good job, wouldn't it?
He's not used to.
Where do you get that?
He's never had to work on something like that before.
Yeah, Molly, he's a good one. Okay, does anybody have any more questions for MVH then? We'll kind of put that one to rest then, okay? Now we'll look at general. Oh, boy. A couple of things on the general that I noticed. There are no pay increases, so that's something that we need to allow for. When I talked with Kevin, he said that we should factor in a 12% increase in our health insurance, and I don't think we did that. So we should have a 12%
He must
increase.
have changed that because he told me 10s and he's told you 12, so.
But you have it the same, 35.5 is
Okay.
35.5.
Well, I based it on, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when I talked with him yesterday, but 10%, the 35.5,
I think I based it on what they were actually, well, how much more do you want it to be?
well, I mean, we'll have, if we do a 12%,
Is Bobby gonna keep his insurance?
we
Yeah.
can. It's not
Yeah,
part
all
of
the
it.
time.
Okay, we're taking to 39,760. So line 1122 health insurance would be 39,760. And that gives us a cushion because not knowing who's hired, you know, because the insurance is different based on that person. Okay, so we'll start here. Town board stays the same. Clerk treasurer, first deputy, second deputy, town administrator, planning and zoning, part-time deputy, and town marshal. Now, those salaries, are you wanting to put an increase in any of those? I saw in today's paper where Martinsville has a 2% pay increase. Just because it's on the line doesn't mean you're giving it. It just means you budgeted it. You provided for it in case you do want to make that increase. It still goes by the salary ordinance, isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so no matter what you have on the line, that's not the pay. The pay is based on the salary ordinance.
This would allow us, in a salary ordinance, to pay up to that
Up to
amount.
that amount. But that does not mean that's the pay.
That's right.
So if we increased them all 2% or 3% or whatever you guys think,
I would increase them all to 3%.
3%? What do you think, Dixie?
I think so.
3, 10?
Well, I don't know.
a
Yeah,
raise.
okay.
We're not giving them a raise, we're just putting it in here
Okay,
in case
just
we
in
want
case.
to, in case we
Okay.
want to at some point.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I think it's okay to talk about it now if you want to, but what, if somebody thinks it ought to be 10%, then you're not going to authorize enough if you don't
Oh,
raise
I
it.
gotcha.
If you think 3% is as much as you want to go, then you're certainly going to have the room to give up to that amount. So that's, you don't have to be any more specific than that right now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And, I mean, we can later, if anything should happen, we can move money around in the lines as long as it doesn't impact the bottom line. It's just cleaner if we do it right front.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What do you think, Walter? Production. Why don't we go ahead, Sharon, and then increase all of those by 3%? Is that okay?
Sure, okay.
Okay, you can figure that in. And your FICA and Medicare, you'll have to get your total salary and then take that times the 5.0675 or 695, whichever. Okay, health insurance, we know that's going out. Office supplies, you got that the same. Okay, here we come to police equipment, clothing, sir. Would you like to talk about your lines now?
I would.
Yeah, please, I'll give you, his lines are police equipment and clothing. And then we come on down to police vehicle 2. And you have another one in there.
Thanks.
Didn't you have another line in there?
Well, let's see. The new vehicle equipment line.
Oh, yeah, I know what it was. Okay.
And I was just, when I filled out this request, it was just using the rough amounts and moving money around to those different areas and allowing for raises to reduce the town marshal's pay, or that was allocated from $50,000 to $48,000, and then just move that extra $2,000 down to each full-time officer. And if that encompasses the 3% that you just, then that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. Would like to remain, keep the part-time deputy line at $18,000 and leave that open. That's something we have used this year, and that could be returned. And would like to leave that $18,000 open in the event that we were ever to have the need for a part-time deputy. Would like to reduce each individual clothing allowance line, including my own, from $750 to $300. And this would be $300 per person for non-returnable type items, such as boots and shoes and things that you don't want to wear if someone else has worn them. Whereas uniforms can be dry cleaned, they can be cleaned. Those are returnable items. And then we take that $450 from each one of those lines and put it in the general police and clothing budget line. And then it would be up to the town marshal to identify when uniforms need to be replaced and have the money in there to replace them. Not put it on an individual line item, but only the non-returnable stuff on the individual line item. What that individual line item for clothing allowance, it started probably 30 years ago, and mostly was for detectives and people that didn't get uniforms provided for them, or they wore plain clothes. And it really started out for plain clothes detectives. Then it evolved into different areas where people in the different departments couldn't really give them a pay raise, so they hid it in a clothing allowance. And basically it was a bonus. And so here, I believe that we can do this without an issue and use it for non-returnable items, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You guys can pop in there, yeah, if you have a question.
Okay, under number 5, we'd add $11,220 for a new police vehicle annual lease. That would be what the annual lease would be. I believe that's calculated on a two-year lease. But I think the current one drops off sometime this year or
No,
mid next year?
it's not this year.
It's not this year?
No.
Okay.
Are you sure?
The black one?
The black one?
Oh, the black one, oh, I'm thinking of yours.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the black, well, there's two black ones.
The-
The
Oh.
SUV, the 2015 SUV.
You
Is that-
budgeted 9780 for it last year, and you budgeted 7333 this year.
Okay, okay.
So that's-
Oh, when you said that, I was thinking of, but his is, oh, yeah,
Yeah, it's better paid for.
yeah.
This is the only one,
Then-
this is the only car we have a payment on, and it goes off this year, right?
Yeah, and then the truck.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so it goes off this year.
In this 2017. Okay, so what kind of car, now what kind of car is that?
I quoted a one just like we have through Matlock Ford, and that would be government pricing. And to split that up into the lease would be $11,220 annual lease for that. Now, with that being said, I didn't quote a Dodge pickup truck or some of the Dodge cars, which might be a little cheaper than this particular lease. So if we were to allocate $11,220 for the annual lease, I believe it would be okay.
That'd be your max, yeah. You got that? That'd be the most, it could be less.
Now, what I didn't account for until some discussion after I turned my numbers into Sharon was the amount for the equipment that goes in the car. We got a quote on that, and the equipment for the 2015 without a center console, the computer mounts, and some of the other interior equipment was about $4,900. So I was talking to Sheriff Sutherland in Brown County, and he said they just outfitted their new vehicles, and they put new radios in, which we probably wouldn't need new radios, but it cost them $13,000 per vehicle. So if we did without new radios, we could probably add $10,000 to a line and get by with $10,000 if we add that to a line. I'd like to leave garage and motor, that combination at $14,000. If it still includes the fuel, if we decide to go with a different line for fuel and split that up, we probably would need to calculate what the cost of fuel has been over the last couple of years. I'd like to go back and review that before the decrease in fuel has been over the last year and see what 2014 and 2015 the average would be. As far as the predictions go, it's supposed to stay down for a while, but I don't know if it'll stay down for a year. But I really would like to see us split that line up so it gives me a better idea exactly what our repairs are costing us, and then also exactly what a fuel would be.
Now Sharon, that should be doable, right?
Yes, I can put a set
Be-
number.
Would it be just like a 1222.010 or something like that?
Possibly. I'd have to look at the numbers that they have in the system. But yeah, I would say that we could just, garage and motor, and then we could have under that fuel.
Fuel separate line.
Yeah, you want fuel for you, and then, of course, yours comes out of MVH.
And then I can land on it because it's under the same circumstance.
Well, if you do that,
We'll have
it's still between the two, it should still come with 14,000. You know what I mean? So you'll have to decide how you want that split.
Yeah, we
After
can-
you look at your couple of years of,
Because looking at August for fuel, and I think we were still only about 50% garage and motor, 56%. So we were still good with that number at 14,000. So I believe that 14,000 would be good for 2017. And then if we split it, I can give you the figures of what that could be, what we should expect for fuel and
how do you want it?
correct. And then I think general postage, $600. I believe we left that about the same. And then contractual repairs, it's contractual repairs for radio equipment, computer equipment, and you know, lights and different serviceable stuff that we normally run an annual type contract with Owens Communication, VAI, and some of the other on the electronics and other repairs. I think we should leave that at $4,000.
Okay, questions for the town marshal on his stuff that he presented? No question? Okay. Okay, so we'll come back up here and look, starting at 1224, operating supplies, stays the same, maintenance the same, attorney the same, accountant the same, planning and zoning the same, building inspector the same, Keystone Software, there's an increase there, but that's to be expected, maybe even more than that, I don't know. I heard somewhere they might be coming out with a new version next year, I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know. We'll cross that one later. And then telephone and internet, that should be, will that be enough to cover their cell?
Yes.
Okay. Printing and publications the same, liability insurance went up.
Is that gonna be enough with like the new tower and?
It's $1,200 on the new building, I know that much.
And the new
We'll have a
building.
new tower, yeah. Bonds stayed the same, heat and power same, trash service same. 185th went away, mortgage on the new building stayed the same. Your U.S. equipment, that lease runs out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, we own that copier line.
I know.
Good.
But it's
It's not-
it's been
not-
given as fits.
Oh, gosh.
You can just tell. We want to trigger it and we want to kick it in the
That's about how they look that.
every month.
But we'd get a trade-in because we
Oh, we do.
We would, yeah.
That's right.
You get it for $1 at the end of the lease, you buy it for $1, and then you can trade it back in, you'll get a trade-in allowance. I know, that's government.
I know, Becky and I are about ready to.
Okay, police vehicle loan, that's reduced because that's going to be paid off. Other services, and then she just put these down in here, building improvements other in park. That's just to put money where we are. Looking at the budget, this budget totaled up to $528,492, when actually we could budget $548,400. So that's a difference of $19,908. And between increases and the $10,000 on the outfitting the new, if we get a new police car, if you put that in there, that about eats that up. Anybody have any comments or questions on general? Mark? No? Dixie? No. Dan? Nope. Okay. So, I guess that the motion would be to approve $548,400 in general. $123,421 in MVH. The white special distribution will be $33,599. Rainy day would be $34,413. Local road and street, $34,658. CCI is the same, 8034. And CCD is gonna be 36804. Is that what you had?
Yes, that's what I had. But let's think here a minute. We're gonna be spending 6,000 of that CCI. So we know that we're not gonna have 8,000 to
Or
budget.
were you changing,
Uh,
that's not on the resolution. See?
No, I'm just looking at what I gave back here. We're gonna spend $6,000 for the website, right? And we have 8,000 in there,
Oh, we do?
yeah, and so we're gonna have some money left over. So shouldn't we budget the difference? I mean, when you made that motion the other night. it was
Oh, yeah, I
6,000.
thought when you did, I didn't even look at it, I thought when you did these, that you had already,
So there'll be $2,034 left, right?
well, according to your form, it's 2832.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute here. Budget projection. I think I got a fund report here somewhere.
The balance
Okay,
is,
CCI balance right now is 803,404.
so if we
And
spend,
you had budgeted last year to spend the 67, right?
yeah, 60, yeah, well, I've got down here 68, 49, 68, 49, 37. That's the beginning balance. Well,
Yeah, we'd have to change that.
yeah, we would, okay.
But on the form, it shows a minus of 2,800. Do you have that form that prints out of Gateway?
Well,
This budget estimate?
the only
Or
form,
4B, the 4B?
no, I don't have the 4B, I have this Form 1, where, that's where I caught it.
Because on the 4B, it shows, oh, I see what it is. It shows that we would have an operating balance of minus 2832. So you're thinking we need to change,
Well, since we know that we're gonna spend that money, and we're not going to have 8,000 to ask to spend, I think we should,
but we didn't have it on here. We didn't have it on,
let me ask Ryan.
because we didn't have it on, I got the Form 4B here, that you
Mhm.
gave us, that you printed off. And it shows that, 8,000 shows 1,300 coming in, another 2,500 coming in. Net funds are, total funds 11,928, so the amount to be raised was 2,832. But if we need to go ahead and, so you're saying we need to change, oh, you'll have to change, we didn't do anything on that one,
I'll just have to go in there and change that in Gateway and make it.
and make it the way it's supposed to be. Okay, because the resolution that we have, we are carrying over into next year, 108,619 from general, 24,047 from MBH, 19,845 for local road and street, 23,213 from rainy day, and 32,106 from CCD, for a total of $207,830 carryover to next year. Now, the one reason why these carryovers are so high on, well, why local road and street rainy day are both higher is because the crossings grant is a 2017 grant, so we need those monies. We're not going to spend it this year, that'll be the match next year. Comes out in the match for paving grant. So, questions, comments? We're in darn good shape. Well, we got money and we've got money that we can.
When you think about where you were a few years ago, and think about where you were when you started reducing the budget 2 years ago, and look where you are now, I would have thought it was impossible. We're going to reduce the current budget here in a minute by $207,000. So that money will be available for next year, but other places don't do that. Maybe this council's done a remarkable job at saving money and finding money, and over the next few years, you're going to have a lot of money to spend.
Well,
And
we
do
have,
some
once,
neat
yeah,
things.
once the water project's done and the stormwater project are done, then we can go to work on the waste, the actual sewers. And that will be a matching grant, but that match can come out of general, so.
And when you,
And rainy day.
right. And you think about this money here, that this is your own money, and you've got essentially, what, $2 million of money you applied for and got that isn't your money, that's being spent on these improvements that you're not having to pay for. And then this road money, I mean, it's, we always sit around walking on our lower lips about not having any money and how bad local governments are doing, and most of them are, but what Morgantown is the exception to the rule. It's really great. You should be really proud of that.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve, and we don't do that at this meeting, do we? We do that at our October meeting, that's right.
And what, can we have our public hearing
Yeah.
like at 6:15?
We
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah,
This October 3rd at 6, November? or-
yeah, 6 o'clock's fine.
Well, it won't.
Well,
We
6,
can't.
oh,
At 6?
Nobody ever comes and it never bounces.
Well,
It's
what-
probably 6:30.
6:30?
6:30.
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah,
making
you're
it
right.
reliant,
No.
it's just I've been through these for 30
Yeah.
years, they don't take any time, and then you're kind of sitting there waiting for meetings to start.
Yeah, okay, 6:30, we'll have the public hearing, and then after the public hearing, when we have our meeting, we'll adopt the budget. All right.
Will you notice that, or will you want me to do it? The notice of public hearing?
All I'm going to do is notices in Gateway, which is
That's
all,
all that's required now.
that's all that's required now.
But we're starting the meeting at 6:30.
Yes, you need to send a notice to the newspaper.
Okay, so that brings us then to the item of business of adopting resolution.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. No.
One other thing, we also can just notice in Gateway the public hearing on the budget at 6:45. And at the beginning of your meeting, just call the public hearing to order, or, read your claims.
Well, that way we wouldn't have to.
Said we're not, so why don't we do this?
We'll have to, no.
This is a suggestion, I'm not telling you what to do. What you could do is you could read your claim at 6:45, start your regular meeting 6:45 on October 3rd. At 7 o'clock, call to order your public hearing on your budget.
Okay.
Hold the public hearing, close the public hearing, then reconvene or proceed with the regular meeting.
Yeah, that's
Is that all right?
That's great, that's how.
So then we're not
we-
needing to notice the
No
paper
notice.
of a public hearing, you're just gonna notice Gateway at 7.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We've already got our regular standing notice of our 6:45 regular meeting on the 3rd. So then there's nothing special that we're doing,
No, gotcha, yeah.
okay? All right, so then you're gonna post a notice of Gateway at 7 on the 3rd, okay?
And there's, yeah, that's a change this year. isn't it?
Yeah, you don't have to advertise, I suppose you could if you wanted to, but.
Yeah, people want to know about the hearing, they'll go to Gateway. Okay, so that brings us to our resolution then, 2016-3.
Everybody has it? Okay.
Did you?
Walter, did you get around to you?
Oh, Walter, here.
Hang on, here. Walter?
Now I got two. Now I have two. 2000, I'll sign one of them and send it back. 2016-3 is just that, reducing the general budget 108,619, MVH 24,047, Oak Road Street 19,845, rainy day 23,213, CCD 32,106, for a total of $207,830. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
I still,
Is there a second?
Second.
We got a lot of seconds. All those in favor for discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And we'll sign this year and send it back.
Ordinance number is.
This can go back.
We could have done it
This can go back.
tonight.
Go back.
Take one of these and send it around too. Are we doing this week thing?
Might as
I'm
well,
all
we'll get the first reading out and we do the second
Right,
reading in
that's what I
October.
thought.
Yeah.
And ours is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, he's getting on.
That's good.
He's holding.
We want to get it done.
Yeah.
And start using it, so that's good. I want to speed it up. So instead of, instead of bringing it in October, I thought if we get the first reading done today, then we can get it adopted faster. But what I didn't want to do is suspend the rules. When you're adopting an ordinance, it really does impose penalties on folks. I don't want it to look like we're slipping it through in 2 readings, so that those are the ones that I really think need to be 2 reading ordinances. So this is 2016 something. Sharon will tell us before we adopt it in October. It is, I think it's an ordinance, maybe you've seen the draft of before. Well, it's very close to what we have. What I did really was just add some definitions to make clear where the improved areas are. Jeff read it and said, well, this isn't quite as clear as it could be. And so I followed his suggestion and tweaked it. And what we've done is included with respect to improved real estate that the areas within 15 feet of a public street or streetwide right-of-way have to be at the 10-inch height. And I included a definition for improved, which is on page 2 from the bottom where it starts section 3. Improved means real estate on which one or any number of structures such as houses, mobile homes, commercial buildings, and other primary and accessory structures without regard to the use, condition, or located. One of the questions Jeff brought up is we have some properties that actually have something on them, but they're in such bad shape, they're abandoned, they're so dilapidated that are they really considered improved or not? And in the ordinance that we did before, when we said improved, I think Jeff's point was, well, what does that mean, improved? Because they're kind of unimproved, if you think of it in a generic sense. What we mean is, if they've been developed at some point in the past, if they're not just a vacant lot that has never had some improvement done to it. And he needs to know, and the officers need to know, when they enforce this, what property is subject to what height restriction on the height of the grass and weeds. So what I tried to make clear was, look, if it's been developed at some point in the past, then it needs to be held to the standard that all approved property is. If it's a field or a lot or something that never was, okay, that's something different. And I think we get that by including the definition of approved. Any number of structures such as houses, mobile homes, commercial buildings, and other primary and accessory structures without regard to their use or condition are located. Then I think they know what to write on which property. So this is, that ordinance will assign a number to it by October 3rd, introduced on first reading today. And then have it on the agenda for October 3rd. And if you adopt it, then we'll have to publish it. And as soon as it's published, it's effective. And they're good to go with it. Is that right?
That's correct.
Thanks for that.
Okay, any questions on the, well, is there a motion to accept the ordinance on first reading? Amending the vegetation ordinance.
Yeah. Well, Sharon will give me a number on it. I didn't get with her before I came down here today to get it from her, so that was me not getting it. I oftentimes don't get it.
I'll move that we accept the revised ordinance, or amended ordinance to correct or change ordinance 2014-8. And the ordinance number will be 2016- whatever
The
Sharon.
next one in line.
Next one in line.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, a couple of other things. Did you have anything else? That was it, right? A couple of other things. The EPA is going to do a technical assistance AIS site visit. Every year they choose certain percentage of SI projects, and we have chosen. So it's no big deal, but just so that you know, they're going to be in town. What they do is they are verifying the steel on the water tower and the next other product that they use. Anyway, just so you know that that's happening. I had an email from Andrew today. Next 7 days, they'll be putting the logo on the water tower. And when that happens, they'll call and we can go and look at the placement. And if we want to move this way or move that way, we can do that. So I'll let you guys all know when that comes. And on the logo, talk to the supervisor, and he thinks it's going to work okay. But when they get up there, if too much of it is on the curb, then we might have to shorten the bottom line. So just so you're aware of that. Those are the two water tower things. Also had a message today from Emily. They'll be starting on storms in the next 2 weeks. Now, to Bobby, our arrangement with Roger is $250 a week. He's our licensed operator, so probably the same thing should apply to Bobby. $250 a week to be our wastewater certified operator.
I don't know why, I really think it's $255.
Is it? I didn't bring any pay file.
I didn't bring
Maybe it is $255.
I need a copy of the salary orders.
No, I do have a pay file. Let's see, Roger Seaston, $255, you're correct. It is $255 a week. So that would be $255 a week for Bobby, coming out of wastewater only, to be the certified operator and to oversee the testing and the administration of the chemicals and help provide them and answering their questions, etc. So I'm going to make a motion that we pay $255 a week to be the certified operator on wastewater. Let's see if I get a second. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, discussion? That's what we paid Lee Rogers, I think, was $250. Anyway, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. So is there any other business?
Now that'll start.
After he
Yeah,
leaves.
for next week.
Okay.
Next week's his last week full.
Yeah.
He's got a good opportunity, and Mike Rankin, he's gonna take it, and he's still gonna,
Yeah, but we should.
we'll keep his license active, and you never know. Okay. I think we're adjourned. Okay, question.
Camper down here
Hey,
in
yeah,
Morgantown.
camper and trailer park, please.
Yes. The question is, what, is it, can it be there? Is that
It
what you're asking?
shouldn't be there.
Right, it should be there. What I understand is there was a mobile home manufactured home that was in there for some number of years. It was torn down or pulled off or something, the lot was empty. Then a travel trailer, not really a manufactured home, but a travel trailer, was set in its place. I don't know the dimensions of it. I don't think under our ordinance that the travel trailer meets the definition of a mobile home. So it's out for that reason. Secondly, the property isn't zoned for manufactured homes. It's a separate lot, as I understand it, distinct from the larger lot beside it. I think there's a larger lot to the north of it that houses a number of manufactured homes. When the ordinance, and that all these were probably there before 1989. When the 1989 zoning ordinance was adopted, it couldn't have a retroactive effect on the uses that were already in place. So those mobile homes and the one that was on the lot we're talking about, because they were already there, were what are called pre-existing non-conforming uses. We call that grandfather. When you adopt the law, you can't look back and enforce it retroactively. But when an existing use that is permitted because it was already there ceases, when it goes away, then that property becomes subject to the ordinance. That's what happened here. So that lot that we're talking about, because that manufactured home that was there was removed, then it became subject to our 1989 zoning ordinance. And it's been amended some, but that was the original date of it. And that ordinance doesn't allow the manufactured home to be there. So if there is that trailer, travel trailer still there, I think, one, it can't be there. If we do consider it a mobile home under the definition, it can't be there. But I don't know that it meets the definition of a mobile home anyway, because I'm told it may just be a travel trailer. And folks aren't allowed to set up and live in a travel trailer. So I think on 2 counts, it can't be there. Does that answer your question? Is that what you're asking about? Is that the explanation you were looking for? Yeah, that's how I evaluate it anyway.
Okay, I think that we're through with our business today, and I want to thank you guys. It's a good budget, no increase in taxes, and we're going to be able to do some even more exciting things next year. Okay?
Yeah.
We're adjourned, right?